Computer networks have become an integral component of any organization, which allows the exchange of data and communication between computers in the network. As far as organizational network infrastructure is concerned, there are three broad categories of computer networks, namely the Internet, the Intranet and the extranet. These networks use various network protocol to allow for communication between computers and other network devices. The Internet, extranet and the Intranet all rely on the same transmission control protocol or the Internet protocol, TCP or IP technologies. However, there are differences in terms of the level of access and the size of the network. An intranet, for instance, allows restricted access to only members of an organization. An extranet expands that access to allow non-members as well. The difference between the Internet and the extranet is that while the extranet allows limited access to non-members of an organization, the Internet generally allows everyone to access all network resources. Internet. The Internet is a worldwide network of computers that connect computer networks around the world together. Millions of private, public, academic, business and government networks connect with each other over the Internet to share massive amounts of information, resources and services. The Internet uses the standard Internet Protocol Suite or the TCP or IP to connect to the net. It has numerous information resources and services such as the web pages of the World Wide Web, which we generally refer to as www, email, FTP, telnet, games, videos, images, social networking, etc. It is currently being used by billions of people worldwide. The Internet carries information from all streams, traditional like the newspapers, books and other print publishing, to modern such as blogging and web feeds. It also enables new forms of human interactions through instant messaging, emails, internet forums and social networking. The term Internet has been coined from the concept of internetworking that denotes interactions between computers under a network or over multiple networks. It is an umbrella used under different networks. Small and big freely exchange information across the globe. It provides access to the most diversified sources of information hosted by individuals and various organizations worldwide on a vast network of servers. It is a vast electronic library made up of millions of pages of information stored in hundreds of thousands of linked computers across the globe. History of the Internet. Advanced Research Projects Agency Network was the network that became the basis of the Internet. Based on a concept first published in 1967, ARPANET was developed under the direction of the US Advanced Research Projects Agency. In 1969, the idea became a modest reality with the interconnection of 4 university computers. The initial purpose was to communicate with and share computer resources among mainly scientific users at the connected institutions. ARPANET took advantage of the new idea of sending information in small units called packets that could be routed on different paths and reconstructed at their destination. The development of the TCP/IP protocol in the 1970s made it possible to expand the size of this network, which now had become a network of networks in an orderly way. In 1982, the Internet Protocol Suite was standardized and consequently the concept of the World Wide Network of interconnected TCP/IP networks called the Internet was introduced. Access to the ARPANET was expanded in 1981 when the National Science Foundation or the NSF developed the Computer Science Network CSNET and again in 1986 when NSF-NET provided access to supercomputer sites in the United States from research and educational organizations. Commercial Internet Service Providers, or the ISPs, began to emerge in the late 1980s and early 1990s. The ARPANET was decommissioned in 1990. The Internet was commercialized in 1995 when the NSFNet was decommissioned, removing the last restrictions on the use of the Internet to carry commercial traffic. Since the mid-1990s, the Internet has had a revolutionary impact on culture and commerce, including the rise of near-instant communication by electronic mail, instant messaging, voice-over Internet protocol, and the World Wide Web with its discussion forums, blogs, social networking, and online shopping sites. Before the World Wide Web, the Internet really only provided screens full of text. In an attempt to make this more aesthetic, companies like CompuServe and AOL began developing what used to be called GUIs, or Graphical User Interfaces. Probably the World Wide Web saved the net. Not only did it change the appearance, it also made it possible for pictures and sounds to be displayed and exchanged. It was Tim Berners-Lee who created the World Wide Web. The first trials of the web was at CERN Laboratories, one of Europe's largest research laboratories in Switzerland, in December 1990. By 1991, browser and web server software were available, and by 1992, a few preliminary sites existed in places like the University of Illinois. The first browser, which became popularly available to take advantage of this, was Mosaic in 1993. Mosaic was very slow and really didn't handle downloading pictures at all. So the early World Wide Web experience with Mosaic and with domestic modems that operated at 1/6 of current modem speed at best were pretty lousy and really didn't give much indication of the potential of this medium. On April 30, 1993, CERN's director made a statement that was a true milestone in the Internet history. On this day, they declared that WWW technology would be freely usable by anyone with no fees being payable to CERN. This decision, much in line with the decision of earlier Internet pioneers to make their products freely available, was a visionary and an important one. In the same year, Mark Anderson founded Netscape Corporation, and the World Wide Web Consortium, which administers development of World Wide Web standards, was formed by Tim Berners-Lee. Every year from 1994 to 2014, the Internet saw massive growth, the likes of which had not been seen with any preceding technology. The Internet era had thus begun. The first search engines began to appear in the mid-1990s, and it didn't take long for Google to come into the scene and establish a dominant market position. In the early days, the web was mainly used for displaying information. Online shopping and online purchase of goods came a little bit later. The first large commercial site was Amazon, a company which in its initial days concentrated solely on the books market. Amazon saw that online shopping was the way of the future and chose the book market as a field where much could be achieved. Web 2.0 is a metaphor that implies a paradigm shift in the manner by which web technology is used. Web 2.0 refers to the read-write web, that is, users can not only read what is on the web, but they can also contribute to its contents. It is the term given to describe a second generation of the World Wide Web that is focused on the ability for users to collaborate and share information online. Web 2.0 basically refers to the transition from static HTML web pages to a more dynamic web that is more organized and is based on serving web applications to users. Blogs, wikis, RSS and social networking sites are all components of Web 2.0 technologies. Importance of Internet libraries. Internet libraries have now become a part of the library environment today. it has added a great value to the library and information services and is playing an important role in transforming the library system and the way in which we view the library resources and services. Internet provides links to various library sites specializing in almost every topic, and they can be accessed directly from any part of the world. As the libraries are going web-based, more and more libraries are becoming accessible via library websites. The Internet has created the following new and different services and operations. A. By designing clearly organized and easily accessible and well-published library websites, librarians can extend the resources and services to its users around the world. B. The libraries can initiate bulletin board services, which gives complete information regarding services, products, and various events organized by them. Ready reference services can be provided with greater speed and in much shorter time. C. Books and journals can be ordered online. Technical processing of the document can be done without much effort. D. Email services can be used for delivering information to the users and communicating with the fellow information professionals. E. ESDI services can be used for delivering information to library users. F. Access to various databases and OPAC of other libraries located in remote areas can be provided. Now, over the recent years, an increasing number of libraries have integrated social media sites and services into their professional offerings, whereas making use of social network sites such as YouTube, Facebook and Twitter, or having an organizational blog which once have been perceived as cutting edge, such services are increasingly becoming an expected part of a library's online presence. Today, users expect to be able to discover the latest updates about a library's services in their Twitter stream. They expect to be able to ask questions of the library and informational professionals without resorting to email or telephone, and where the library has made content available online, users increasingly expect to be able to share it simply among their friends and colleagues. Libraries are using Web 2.0 technologies to promote services, share information, engage with users, and network with colleagues on a global scale. The global nature of web-based services means that libraries can reach a vast audience, serving more people in the virtual sphere than would be possible in a physical location. A strong web presence, including representation on social media sites, improves the awareness of library services and contributes to a progressive and modern image, which may in turn lead to increased physical visits. Static web pages are useful for presenting information about library services, but they don't allow for interaction of users. The integration of Web 2.0 services, however, could enable libraries to deliver parts of library services online. Libraries can host book discussions groups using a blog or wiki, or provide services, updates or marketing events using Twitter. Web 2.0 services can be updated quickly and published instantly. This means the time delays associated with traditional web publishing can be avoided. For example, by using blogs or microblogs, librarians can go straight to the user with news and up-to-date information related to new services, materials or service developments. The use of Internet by libraries largely depends on getting the Internet connection and exploiting its services and resources for providing better access to global information. The scope is unlimited, or rather limited to the imagination of library professionals. Intranet. Intranet is an internal network based on TCP or IP protocols belonging to an organization, accessible only by the organization's members, employees or others with authorization. An intranet's websites look and act just like any other websites, but the firewall surrounding an intranet fends off unauthorized access. The intranet is inaccessible from the outside. Like all networks, the intranet is mainly used to share data, information, resources, software applications, as well as facilitate communication between people or work groups within the organization. Secure intranets are now the fastest growing segment of the internet because they are much less expensive to build and manage than private networks based on proprietary protocols. Intranets are widely considered to be simply an internal version of the internet, a sort of miniature version of the web running on an institutional network. The appeal of intranets is that they provide a single central information store and encourage communication flows throughout the organization. Information can be easily shared and disseminated to large groups of people dispersed among different sites, even across national borders. Intranets have actually been around for quite some time. Several people claim to have originated the term that describes the development of an internal client-server solution based on web technology. Library applications of the intranet. As in other organizations, the primary benefit of an intranet in a library is the facilitation of information sharing. Various kinds of documents can be converted into HTML and made web accessible. Policies, procedures, forms, annual reports, manuals, schedules, calendars of events and programs, and anything on paper can be transferred onto an intranet. The intranet will then serve as a quick and reliable source of access to information. In this way, librarians and other employees, and in some cases the public, can be more aware of what is going on at the library. There are a number of obvious advantages for a library service which has access to the parent organization's intranet. It publicizes its services to its user community through a variety of pages, some of them generally static, opening hours, details of key stuff, etc., and some of them refreshed more frequently, like new editions or journal alert listing services, etc. The following services can be provided through the intranet. A. An intranet can assist the information professional to develop document delivery services. Documents can be delivered to remote printers alongside users' workstations. B. Network fax and emails offer the possibility for externally sourced copies to be delivered to the network. C. The intranet allows the direct posting of the result of research on electronic databases. D. The library can give access to its catalogs or OPAC or other bibliographic databases directly to the network. E. The librarian can forward the list of books for approval directly through emails. F. The library users can directly make requests to the librarian for purchase of particular titles via the internet. The same can be intimated to the respective user when the requested title has been acquired by the library. G. Librarians can send reminders to the defaulting members by sending intranet email reminders. H. One can renew the books issued to the library users without having any visit to the library. I. By maintaining user profile and document profile, one can give personalized SDI services by sending the latest edition list to the library. Journal articles of their interest can be scanned and sent as an attachment. Also, articles of interest downloaded from the World Wide Web can also be saved and later sent to the user or posted on the bulletin board of the library page, saving the time required to surf the net. J. The library can also provide the articles alert service to its users by downloading e-journals in which some of them are available freely and can be uploaded onto the intranet. As the journals may be current and also difficult to subscribe or sometimes not available as hard copy. This enables to provide an excellent current awareness service or CAS. Extranet. Extranet is an intranet that can be partially accessed by authorized outside users, enabling organizations to exchange information over the internet in a very secure way. It allows controlled access from the outside for specific business or educational purposes. Extranets are extensions to or segments of private intranet networks that have been built in many organizations for information. It uses intranet protocols so users can navigate with a browser but resides on the organization's private server rather than on a public internet server. Access to it from the internet can be controlled through various architectures that are password or username specific. In other words, areas of the extranet will be available according to password credentials. Online patches, upgrades, downloads, knowledge bases and an interactive help desk are just a few examples of ways to serve a client base using an extranet. Another resource an extranet can provide is the ability to create secure areas for interaction between an organization and its partners. Development, dissemination of information and tools, data sharing, research and more are all possible using such an environment. An extranet can also connect to other extranets through the common language of internet protocols. This makes it invaluable to organizations involved in collaborative efforts and opens the door to greater creative opportunities. In the past, geography was a significant hindrance to collaborations, but this technology bridges the gap effortlessly and virtually cost-free. Advantages and disadvantages of extranet. The following are the advantages of the extranet. A. It helps to improve organization efficiency and output by automating procedures that were done manually in the past. B. Work is done quickly as compared to past manual systems. C. Extranets permit information to be analyzed at periods suitable for partners, suppliers, employees and other stakeholders. D. Information can be modified, updated and changed immediately on an extranet. All approved members thus have instant access to the most advanced information. E. Extranets can help in improving relationships with main or potential members by giving them correct, precise and efficient information. The major disadvantages of the extranets are: A. Extranets can be expensive to implement and maintain within an organization, example the hardware, software, training costs, and if hosted internally rather than by an application service provider. B. Security of extranets can be a concern when hosting valuable information. Extranets provide an extremely convenient method for sharing information. Another benefit is that the extranet's content is always current. Printed material presents the risk that old, outdated information might be in circulation. Additionally, the information is always available right when you need it, rather than having to wait for an updated book or a returned call to confirm information. The Intranet is the massive global system that connects networks around the world together. Additionally, the information is always available right when you need it, rather than of having to wait for an updated book or a returned phone call to confirm information. Now let's quickly summarize the whole lesson. The Internet is a massive global system that connects computer networks around the world. Millions of private, public, academic, business and government networks worldwide connect with each other over the Internet to share massive amounts of information, resources and services. Now, the intranet is an internal network. It is used by organizations to connect their computers on a network. Only the members of the organization with authorized access may log on and access the network and the data on the network. When we look at the extranet, on the other hand, it is an internal network that can be accessed externally. The extranet can be thought as an extension of the organization's intranet. Now that we're done with the chapter, let's try and answer a few questions. For instance, what is an internet, an extranet or an intranet? More precisely, compare the internet with the intranet and the extranet. Also, discuss the applications of the Internet, Intranet and extranet in libraries. Books for reference: Computer Networking Illuminated, Todd King and Diane Barrett, Viva Books 2008. Computer Networks, Protocol Standards and Interfaces, Ulysses Black, PHI Learning Private Limited 2010. Intranet for Library Services Retrieved, November 9, 2010. Computer Networking, a top-down approach featuring the Internet, James F. Kouros, Persons Education, Inc. Internet, Importance and Usage for Library and Information Professionals, Neena Singh, 2001. Intranet and Internet Applications for Libraries, Sehgal, 2000, ESS Publishing. With that, we wrap this session. Next time, we'll be back with more interesting information about library sciences.